So with this video, I want to show you another picture from the Freestyle Mandalas book. And what I'm going to do is to do exactly the same as I did before. I'm going to go here. Let's see where we have that. Here, color transparency tool in Photo Paint, which is a very cool way to remove the background as you saw, then create a new object. And I'm going to fill that with white. And now you see that it covers everything, but I wanted to do that so you can see that we then just simply select the object, the first one that we made transparent, and move that on top. And then of course we're gonna call that drawing, so we know what that is. Place ourselves on the filled object 2, with this filled with white paint, white color. And now we have that. Another thing what's very good with digital coloring is to use the tools which called, you can see here, it's called, the one that I'm going to use is this one, Magic Wand Mask. But as you can see, there's plenty of other ones that might suit your project, but this is the classic one. So we'll just put ourselves outside of this image here, and what that now does is that you can see these marching ants. If you look closer, they're moving a mask here, mask outline here. And you can also see that if you look closer here on the edges of the drawing itself, it's marching ants all over. There are also areas that I maybe don't want to be selected, as we call it in computer coloring. But what I'm going to do now is actually to move over up here on the property bar, which is called in Core Photo Paint, and use this one. It's called the invert mask. By using the invert mask, you'll see that instead of having the mask going with the marching ants, so to speak, all over the page here, it now only concentrates on the inner portion of the image. And now let's see what we can do. One thing that is very common, it's very common when you're working with comic books and coloring illustrations, and it actually is a practice that you use when you're working with, let's say, oil painting and so on. Let's say it's a very old technique actually, and the technique is to work with flats. In comic they call it flats, and in traditional oil painting, you know that you have a painting with a white canvas. But white canvases as we see them today is something that came in at the end of the 1800s and was more a common practice from the end of 1800s and throughout the 1900s and 20th century, as it's called in English, but the 1900s and onwards. But before that, it was more common to make the white canvas, instead of white, make it a red or green or something like that, depending on what kind of picture you were going to work with. So that's what we're working with here as well. So now I put the mouse over this orange here, and then coloring it by selecting it by using the right click on the mouse, and then using the fill tool to fill the color. And now you see that the color is actually inside this image. What now happens is that everything that I color is, let's see, I'm going to do something else here. And this is actually very good. You can see that there's some white fringe here, but we can fix that as well later on if it's needed. But that's like another course. I just want to show you how we can color, of course. So what happens now is that, let's say I'll create a new object here and take another color. And from here, I'm just going to hold down a little bit so I get a lighter color of it, and then I'm going to take this one here. The one selected is the one that I filled with, so if I take the other one here closest, it's very easy to get a lighter, and then I press Control and Shift key on the keyboard, and just to make it a little bit bigger so we see what happens. Because the mask selection is still active, if I do like this, you'll see that I can actually color this image here now by simply doing like this without fearing to go outside of this image. So the white is intact and nothing happens. So this is very common, and it's a very professional way of doing things in digital coloring. And so this way we suddenly colored very quickly. You see how quickly we can do this. And the thing is, when digitally coloring images, there are tons of things we can do, which is fantastic. Now, when we put this color here, I'm going to show you how we can get back some of these orange paint that I now covered with a yellow in the next video.